I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. The raving madman lunatic Donald Trump is at it again, posting more bizarre, strange grievances at everybody, blaming everybody other than himself for the midterms, posting fake polls that I guess make him feel good. I mean, it is really beyond pathetic, but this is who the Republican Party decided to let lead their cult and sacrificed a political party for, and so this is what you get. Let's go into some of these most recent, just despicable and bizarre posts. Here's one that he writes. He goes, "Rigged elections, open borders equals third world countries. The USA is a failing nation." I mean, all he does is talk crap about America. All he does is spread lies about elections here and abroad. You know, all the MAGA extremists also are saying, oh, the Brazil election is stolen. And fortunately, all of the election denying Secretary of States who ran were defeated because guess what? Americans want people who support free and fair elections and not people who support and attend and participate in insurrections. Here's what Trump writes as well. He goes, "Idiot and possibly corrupt officials have lost control of the tainted election in Arizona." There's nothing tainted about it. By the way, big shout out to the Maricopa County Twitter account for pushing back against all the disinformation that they expected and pushing back powerfully and saying things like, just because all of the bots out there want to attack us, that isn't how our elections work here in the state of Arizona and in Maricopa County. But this is what Trump goes. "Idiot and possibly corrupt officials have lost control of the tainted election in Arizona." It's not tainted. It's not tainted. "Machines broken in Republican areas. A new election must be called for immediately." All in caps, of course. Like, are you kidding me? Calling for a new election. Everything is rigged. It's not my fault. It's absurd. So what he goes on to say, "It's Mitch McConnell's fault. Spending money to defeat great Republican candidates instead of backing Blake Masters and others was a big mistake. Giving $4 trillion to the radical left for the Green New Deal, not infrastructure, was an even bigger mistake. He blew the midterms and everyone despises him and his otherwise lovely wife, Coco Chow." And so he obviously has to mix conspiracy theory, hate, lack of accountability, xenophobia, lies, all in one post. And so there he says it's Mitch McConnell's fault. He has to blame Mitch McConnell. Spending money to defeat great Republican candidates, like the worst candidates. I mean, Blake Masters, like one of the worst candidates you could possibly run. And others was a big mistake. Who was better? Dr. Oz? I mean, are you kidding me? And he goes on to say, giving $4 trillion to the radical left for the Green New Deal, not infrastructure. I mean, they just make things up. There's not $4 trillion to a Green New Deal. And the fact that they denigrate the concept of trying to do things that, one, benefit our climate, and two, focus on how we can make sure our economy is geared up for the future and that actually adapts to the current circumstances so that we are not dependent on Donald Trump's close friends, Vladimir Putin and the Saudis, and that we could actually focus on energy independence. I know Donald Trump hates that because his son-in-law gets billions of dollars paid by the Saudis, and Donald Trump gets bailed out by the Saudis, and they play their BS golf tournament at his clubs and pay him all this money. And I know that they've got Trump in their pocket. I mean, they've said that. I mean, they literally said that, right? During the Trump administration, the Saudis say that they got Kushner in their pocket and that Kushner will do whatever the hell they say. I mean, do you remember the story where Kushner gave the Saudis a list of enemies that were in top secret confidential records, and that the Saudis were out there bragging about it, and then they executed people in Saudi Arabia and abroad? They bragged about it based on information that Kushner gave them. I mean, that's who the Trumps are. And he goes on to say he blew the midterms and everyone despises him and his otherwise lovely wife, Coco Chow. I mean, again, he has to be xenophobic and he's just a despicable, disgusting person. And anyone, frankly, who supports him and supports that type of language, unless they abandon it and condemn it, like it's horrific. It's horrific stuff. He goes on to say, he quotes a article from the Federalist and goes, agree with this 100%. Mitch McConnell is a disaster for the Republican Party and the country. He should have improved infrastructure to fix it, not the Green New Deal wrapped up like infrastructure. He gave the Democrats $4 trillion to throw out the window and backed bad candidates like Lisa Murkowski. And again, just repeats the same things over and over again. Just post. Here he posts a BS poll from something called bigleaguepolitics.com, and it says a new poll shows Trump crushing, and that's all in caps, DeSantis with 50-point lead in national Republican primary poll. Big League Politics, and then it says Trump is still the king, and Trump is reposting it. How pathetic can you be that you have to repost things like that right now? And his infatuation about attacking DeSantis and Glenn Youngkin. Remember the video I did a day ago where he was just kept on posting about DeSantis and Youngkin, and then he said like Youngkin and then spelled it as two separate words and then goes, that sounds Chinese. Like, what is going on in this madman's mind? Nothing other than hate and weirdness. And now he posts, this is from Breitbart from John Voight, that says, only Trump can stop swamp. Pray he returns as president. And then I guess it's quoting John Voight to saying, Donald Trump was the only president who had the, quote, best interests of the American people in mind, Academy Award winner John Voight said. And that's what Trump's posting. And I'll spare you the other 50 or 60 posts that he makes every day, but they're equally weird and bizarre. And I suppose that at least today he didn't post the QAnon memes, so maybe that's for him that's better than the previous day where he posts the storm is coming with a photo of him, and then it goes where we go one, we go all on the bottom left, which is the stupid QAnon slogan, and then on the top of his head it has like a little Q crown on it. I mean, this is the people who the MAGA Republican Party supports. Still supports today, and there is a ton of infighting taking place. And I say, let them fight. But in these midterms, people rejected this. I mean, when I look at this, when I see these messages posted over and over and over again, you see just a completely desperate, deranged, and disturbed human being who shouldn't be leading anything. As I've talked about on the MeidasTouch legal takes as well, I think Trump is more vulnerable than ever now to the criminal prosecutions. I think the prosecutors, whether we're talking about Fani Willis in Fulton County, the district attorney there, whether we're talking about Merrick Garland through the various criminal investigations that the grand jury that has been impaneled by the DOJ is pursuing, both in terms of Trump stealing top secret compartmented information and thousands of other documents, and his involvement in the January 6th insurrection, the Trump Organization prosecution currently taking place in New York, the Letitia James civil action for fraudulent valuations by the Trump Organization, seeking at least $250 million, where she already got a preliminary injunction order from the state court judge there, Judge Arthur Engoron, appointing an independent monitor to review Trump's financial filings and to ensure that Trump doesn't make further fraudulent statements on his statement of financial conditions, as well as doesn't engage in fraudulent conveyances. So all of those actions taking place there. And then the other civil cases that are taking place. We talked about the E. Jean Carroll defamation case. She stated that she's going to be suing Trump for another count of defamation. Then under the New York Victims' Rights statute that just passed for adult victims of sexual assault, that she's going to be able to file new causes of action and new claims against Donald Trump there. So the wheels of justice move. He gets more and more desperate every day. And the reason that we show you these things here on the MeidasTouch Network is so we can call it out, we could condemn it, and we don't want to turn a blind eye to it. You know, it was important that independent voters, former Republicans, non-affiliated voters, saw this and said, this is not the America that I know. This is weird. This is hateful. I'm not part of a political party that has that individual as a leader, and they rejected it. That's why we show it here, because we can't close our eyes and cover our ears as the large media networks try to do with conduct like this. So glad to report it here. Share this video with everybody you know, and make sure you hit the subscribe button right now. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to you. Hit subscribe right now. And in addition, check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Consider becoming a patron of the MeidasTouch Network. It's a subscription membership at Patreon, but most importantly, you can get some exclusive content, but also support the growth of this independent media platform. We're not funded by any millionaires or billionaires or any outside investors, so we are only fueled and powered by you. So let's grow this thing together. Patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.